Hey folks, wanted to make this video about VITO the dog. VITO is currently available for rehoming. If you are interested in him, please reach out to me. I'm not going to mention the breeder's name. If I'll send them this video if they want to post it, that's fine. But because of the way the dog world works, when a dog is taken back to the breeder because he's not exactly what the family was looking for, that can, in some people's mind, cast aspersions on the breeder. I don't feel that that's at all the case here. This is a great dog. He spent 5 weeks at my facility. My wife and I worked with him extensively. We had him, by the end of the 5-week period, to a point where we were very, very confident in his obedience. Very, very high confidence. He also was, say he's a young puppy. He's in this video. Most of this time he's 7 months old or so, close to 8 months old. He did not have issues with dogs. He never was the dog who was barking or growling or reacting to other dogs in that way, but he was not 100% sure of himself yet. And so those behaviors were shaped correctly while he was with us. And you'll see him in this video near other dogs several times, but never being reactive to those dogs. I felt like in this section of the video, and I've muted the audio track, but in this section of the video, we're working on what we call handling drills, where we're teaching him to accept touch in areas of his body that he was uncomfortable with. He didn't love his left paw touched, for instance, and so we start to work on that. We're working on the leave it command, and we have this other dog, Bear, this much even younger and more rambunctious puppy, working on the same things, and so he was staying with us for board and train as well during the same time. And you can tell VITO just doesn't care that Bear is there. This was VITO's normal attitude toward other dogs. Here you can see him having a little problem with me holding his paw. He's trying to escape. I was not holding it hard enough to hurt him. He just didn't like that. So we worked through this in this session and solved these problems. This and several sessions after this. Taught him a leave it command. Taught the other puppy a leave it command. And worked through all of his basic obedience. He, after his stay with us, went home to his family, and they've had some trouble. Now, let me explain how VITO came to us for board and train. He arrived on a nylon harness and nylon flat collar. There is this mythology out there, especially in Seattle, dog trainers, that you can take any dog and you can train it purely positive on these kind of tools, and you're going to do just fine. I'm sorry, folks. It's a myth. You cannot take a strong drive dog like a working German Shepherd or even a show German Shepherd that has strong working drives, defensive drives, prey drives, and expect that if you don't have a way to tell it that certain behaviors are not acceptable, that somehow these will just resolve. They don't go away. These are inherent in the dog. They are bred for these drives. You need to be able to tell them when it's appropriate, when it's not appropriate. German Shepherds have resource-based drives and aggressions that, channeled correctly, do great things for herding and protection work. But if they don't understand how to channel these, and this is typical of young dogs, they don't know when they're okay to turn on and off, these can be a little scary, especially for families with young kids. VITO was not reactive to our kids, but we could tell he was stressed. And so during his stay with us, we worked on counter conditioning this. We didn't set him up where he was going to be pushed into a aggressive outburst with our kids. I have 4 kids. I love them. I do not put them into that situation with anyone's dog. VITO did great with us. He never showed aggression to our kids. However, when he went home, he has had several instances where he growled at, or I believe he actually bit one of the children that he lives with. I do not know the severity of that. My advice would be prong collar, conditioned Punisher word. We conditioned 9 as his Punisher word. And I would use that Punisher word for any inappropriate behavior with him that we wanted to go extinct. And then if he did not change the behavior due to the Punisher word that we've conditioned, immediately following that, I would issue a prong collar correction. That methodology, this is still a fairly sensitive dog, that methodology is extremely sound. Okay. In addition to that, we recommend doing additional counter conditioning work, exposing him to stimuli that he finds somewhat stressful at a intensity that he can handle, and then when he provides the correct behavior, making space from those stimuli that he finds stressful. You can see here, he really does not care about this puppy who's trying to get into his space and mess with him. He's stopped caring that I'm touching both of his paws and stroking his paws. This session, I edited out a number of reps. We're just training with food here, and he's accepting this as there's a little leash correction for missing a mark on leash walk. This is my wife Kim working on some leash walking skills. This isn't a long video. I just whipped my cell phone out and recorded him here. Shows the level of attention he can pay. Good sit with focus there. We've begun working on his focused healing type behaviors. We tend to train dogs towards IPO type of competition in terms of their basic skills. Not every dog is cut out to be a protection dog or an IPO trialed dog, but a lot of times when we get a dog in that's raw, you don't know how they're going to respond to training. And so we always train these dogs as if they're the next champion dog. And VITO accepted all of the input that we gave him in terms of training very, very well. He's a quick learner. VITO has strong play drives, strong prey drives, and I would put him in the moderate to low defensive drive threshold. When he left our facility, I don't know if he's had those thresholds adjusted since leaving. Here, this is probably halfway through his stay with us, or a little further than halfway. He joined an advanced class, and the dog that I'm working in the video is another board and trained dog who's struggling to be around the other dogs. She's very good away from other dogs, but struggles in this environment, so this is where she needs the work. And you might recognize, if you've followed our YouTube posts, there's Nor in the background, the Malinois that we had come through our board and train, who his owner, Christina, worked through our advanced program over the summer. And so Nor is on his way to being a fantastic protection dog, just a great temperament. So that is just a update on what's going on with him. I'll just throw that in there. But you can see VITO here. Let's bring the focus back to him. Center of the screen here. Holding together is down. Kim was using a little bit of pressure there just to make sure that he held it. And in this little clip of the video, working on introducing a toy reward, he didn't really understand in the same way that we had conditioned food rewards when we started on this. He didn't really understand the cause and effect part of a toy reward. And so this was sort of his introduction to it. It was harder because there were other dogs around that were getting toy rewards. And so in one moment here, you'll see Nor get released from his down and chase a ball, and VITO tries to chase it and gets corrected. So I'm going to quit talking here, and I'll just bring you into the audio from the...
Nor, down. Good. Yes.
9.
Go,
VITO.
VITO needs a ball for reward.
Yeah, I know.
I thought you had to do
You want one for him? I got extras in the truck right there.
I am out of hot dogs, so I either steal hot dogs from you or I go to a ball. So yeah, I would take one. She's okay.
No. Good. Focus. Good.
with that.
You'll have to put it in your treat bag.
Yes. Good boy, Nora. Good boy.
Okay, so what I'd like to do, one at a time, I'd like to have you recall your dogs out of the circle. So if your dog will stay, this one of course, but if your dog will stay while you walk away,
I am no.
down. If your dog will stay while you walk away, then I'd like you to walk away and recall your dog at whatever distance you feel they'll stay.
Am I going first?
Yeah, whoever wants to go first.
Sybil, stay.
Hi.
Good.
No, down.
Good. Vito. Good. So Jason, when I recall Vito, how do you want me to do it with the ball?
Sybil, come.
Nope.
Sybil, come.
Vito. No.
You're good.
Nice.
Yes. Good.
Down.
I'm going to crate her real quick and then I'll help you. Where she wanted to be at the moment anyway. So has he hit the ball yet? Can't use it as a reward again.
Nope. 9. Yes.
He's not biting it yet, so it's not much of a reward. He's excited by it, but you got to get him biting it first. There you go. Try not to spin.
Good. What?
Can I borrow it?
Oh, he has my other one. There you go. Now he's really full.
Oh, good boy. Vito. Hi, buddy.
Nope. 9. Down.
Oh, North thought it was his turn. Sorry, buddy. Good boy.
Good.
Good boy.
Other dogs can have a bite.
Good. Good. Good boy. No, that's my fingers. There you go. Good boy, Vito. Oh, good. You got it.
Nope. Good.
Good. Yes. Yes. Good boy. All right. So now he's biting it. He wants it. He knows what to do with it. So he let go. Tell him down.
Vito. Nope. Down. Vito. Down. Nope. No.
Give him a little help.
Nope.
Tell him down again.
Vito. Down.
Tell him good.
Good. So
Then tell him-
before we do that, look at his mouth on the right side.
So he just lost a tooth.
He totally just lost a tooth. You want it anyways? Should we?
Tell him yes. And then bite it.
Yes. Good.
Sure.
No, that's it. Yes. You trail it down again. Yes. Good boy, Vito. How old is he? 8 months?
He should be done.
He should be.
He hasn't been biting enough stuff.
Wow, we just fixed that. The other ones all look like adult teeth.
Yeah.
Good boy.
Okay. So tell him down.
Down? Nope.
Hand me the leash.
Got it.
Because you're going to walk away.
Oh.
object of his desire. Nope. Down.
You mean I'm not the object of his desire?
Well, you can be if you play with him enough. Tell him yes.
Yes!
Good boy, Vito.
Good boy.
Okay.
Alright, good. Down. Good.
Nope. Vito. Heel. Nope. Sit. Vito, down. No. Down.
Yes!
Good. It's hard to watch another dog play.
I know, you wouldn't think it'd be such hard work just to lay there.
Yes.
I know. Good, Vito.
And he's about cooked. So, would you go crate him for me?
Correct. We like to crate our dogs after they train because it cements their training.
Okay.
Think about what's our dog if we end training with ball. Like we just do
Nope.
a training session, then we go, oh, I'm going to throw the ball for 20 minutes.
Their brain goes to the ball.
Their brain goes, oh, ball play. That's all they remembered, right? If
Nope.
my training session ends with quiet time, dark room, nothing else to do, no toys in the crate, what's replaying in their head? The
Everything
most
they
recent
just
thing they did, which was for him,
Nope.
40 minutes
Nope.
or so of training.
Down.
And it's just going to replay and convert from
Good.
short-term memory to long-term memory by rehashing it. Okay? So we absolutely manipulate that. That's our pattern. We work until we start to lose intensity, which we saw from him. He was kind of crashing in energy level, just normal puppy stuff.
I wanted to add that while Vito was with us, he was between 7 and 8 months of age, and that was during the summer. It's now getting towards the end of October, which would put him at 12 to 13 months, something like that. He's certainly gotten stronger. I certainly hope that the family has continued on in the same training methods that we have used and corrected behavior. My fear is that his behavior toward the children in the house was not corrected in a meaningful way to him, and as what tends to happen around kids, they react to the dog in a way that has a form of gratification attached to it, a social gratification for the dog. If you think about a puppy nipping at you and then you whine or squeal or say ow, this gratifies the dog in that it kind of got your number. So if that's the case, that he's been at home and the kids have been responding in a similar way to him, that may have built up and just need to be corrected. I don't feel like this is a bad dog that isn't fixable. So that is Vito's board and train stay, and if you are interested in Vito, like I said at the beginning of the video, reach out to me. I'll connect you with the breeder, who I believe has him back at this point. I don't know what they're looking for exactly for him, out of him as far as a rehoming fee. But I'm happy to connect you. I know that there's been some interest in him, but I don't know that that's a done deal by any means at this point. So my thoughts on Vito. He is a very good dog. He has very good drives. He is a very quick learner, non-reactive to other dogs, which is a big plus in my book. We know how to work on that if that's not the case, but what you get naturally is a big part of how hard that is to work through. I wouldn't recommend VITO for a family with small children simply because he is stressed by small children now. He has shown some aggression to the children in the family that he currently lives with or lived with. And I do think he's capable of overcoming that with a good training regimen, but that's going to be a challenge for him. So for whatever family ends up with him, if you do not have small children or plan to have small children, that's probably a plus for VITO. I also would not recommend him to an elderly family. You may be in good physical condition now if you're in that position, but if you are in a health status where you expect your health to decline over the next 5 or 6 years because of your age, especially, that would not be a good fit for him. He's a lot of dog. He's going to need a lot of exercise through, 8-10 years of age. And he has good working drives that are going to require being exercised in work. And so I don't recommend him for someone who is either physically limited and doesn't have the ability to work him, or will end up in 4 or 5 years, he's still going to be a very strong dog with a strong personality, and he will need a firm hand to guide him through life. VITO, I would actually love to have VITO. I am just full with dogs right now. I have 5 of my own, plus we have our board and train business, so we are pretty constantly full, and I do not have room for him. Otherwise, I would take him, and I would not set him up with my kids where he felt stressed out by them, and I would work him through that and probably train him to a high level in a sport like IPO or ring sport. He has a lot of potential to do something of that nature. He could also potentially be a great personal protection dog with the work towards counter conditioning him to kids. He needs to be corrected around that stuff when he exhibits any behavior that is incorrect, and he needs to spend time, like I mentioned, in that zone where he feels a little bit of the pressure and the stress, but he learns to work through it and sees reward for being obedient in those situations. So that's my recommendation for VITO. If you're interested in him, again, let me know and I'll connect you. Thank you.